I'm on the road going around Western Canada and I'm speaking about stress. All around this tent, this is where the farmers will come, still social distancing. We are headed to the beach where you actually can float. It's super cool.
For the most part, we've grown a lot of lentils. Dad even used to grow them quite a bit back in the day, and they're usually pretty good for us.
What we're doing is we're going to replace all these with brand new ones. This is what they're supposed to look like. On these pieces here is a male and female connector, just like life.
So today I'm on the road. This is the second time I've been out this week. I'm part of the Thanks for Farming tour, where I'm part of a event that is going around Western Canada, and I'm speaking about stress. So it's pretty cool. It's put on by Thunderstruck Ag, following COVID regulations and sanitation guidelines. But it's been interesting because I haven't been out for 3 months, and then not only out, but then really leave my family. It was hard to leave my family. I had a few tears because here we've done everything together. Only had maybe a 2 to 3 hour times that we've been apart, but then to leave overnight and travel and stay in a hotel. There's only a few cars in the parking lot too. It was kind of eerie, but it was nice. It was nice to see people in the flesh and talk to people and crop check, see different crops, how other farmers were doing through this hard time. And yeah, so I'm going to Brandon again. The event is tomorrow in Brandon, and I have to get there. I left early. So I'm doing a webinar. It'll be my first webinar in a hotel room. And it's funny, my husband, he was like, well, you should hit the road a couple hours earlier. And I thought, well, why? It's about a 5-6 hour drive. He's like, you dawdle hard. And I thought, no, I think I'm pretty good. And then I thought of our conversation this morning, leaving 2 hours early, and I was like, yes, he is right, because I'm currently down a dirt road taking pictures. So but this is fun. I've never drove a Jeep before. It was the only rental car that they had. So yeah, first time. It's cool. I don't mind it at all. The stereo is nice, and it's just nice to kind of be, have some road time, because when I'm driving, I listen to music, listen to podcasts, and I think I didn't realize how much I needed it until being out on the road. But I'm going to take some pictures and then get back on the road so I'm not late for this webinar. I promised Alltech I was going to be on time. So I just stopped east of Regina. It must have rained because the ground is kind of wet, but it's so pretty here. Just Saskatchewan skies and all the fields. Looks like a carpet. And the highway. So it's now the next day. I stayed over in Brandon. The webinar went well. I made it to Brandon on time, but when I checked in, they didn't have my hotel room ready because of the extra sanitization, and they weren't able to give me another room because of COVID and having to sanitize another room. So I did it in my car. I did it in the SUV, or the Jeep actually. So I'm just ready to head out. I got my bag. I don't know where my bag is, but I got my bag packed and gonna head out to the show. We do 2 shows in one day. So farmers come in the morning, they have lunch, a couple speakers, myself, and then they leave, and then there's a whole bunch of sanitation that happens, and then more farmers then come for the evening program. So it's pretty cool that you can talk to lots of farmers in one day. And this is Brandon. So I stayed downtown, or the Strip. I think right here, that's the Strip. And I'm gonna go that way for the event. And I think there's a Starbucks on my way there for a little treat. Okay. So I'm under the tent for shade because I will burn. It's such a beautiful day. But all around this tent, this is where the farmers will come, still social distancing. All the vendors are on the perimeter and everyone's kind of chatting and getting to know each other, seeing what's out there before lunch and the chats.
We did see a little bit of crusting, not as bad here, but particularly in areas that work their ground a lot. There was some crusting issues. Then you've got canola growing slow, and the flea beetles just loved it, attacked it, and created more issues for us. And really, there's not much we can do about that. You need a rain to loosen up. We just didn't get that rain.
I'm back from Manitoba. It was great to be out and see farmers, and got to hear a lot of farmers and their stories. And stress, unfortunately, is high on everyone's radar. So it's really great that Thunderstruck Ag is having me out and talking about stress. I'm on gophering duty this morning, so back in the saddle, and we're gonna go move things, or move the semi and the sprayer so Matt can spray tomorrow. And yeah, things are looking really good because we had a thunderstorm last night too. And then the end of next week I go back on the roads. But
On the road.
on the road again.
Just get man, get on the road.
And then today we're gonna go to the beach. It's gonna be
If it doesn't rain.
If it doesn't rain, you're such a farmer. So it's just us girls. We get to drive together, and then the boys get to drive together. Oh, here's the sprayer. So we got done gophering and we are headed to the beach. There is a beach about 5 minutes north of Watrous called Manitou Beach, and it was formed by glaciers in, I believe, the last ice age. It is salt water. It's fed through underground springs, and it has a high sodium, potassium, and magnesium content where you actually can float. It's super cool. We enjoy spending time down here. It supposedly has healing qualities where I think it helped people with smallpox back in the day.
Psoriasis.
And psoriasis, any skin conditions, eczema, it really helps. And it's nice, like it's on the warmer side because it's pretty shallow. And yeah, oh, I think you just smashed the chips. We got munchies.
You float.
And you float. It's pretty cool.
You actually don't have to wear a life jacket.
Well, you should wear a life jacket just in case. But yeah, you float. Are you excited to go to the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom,
What? We need what?
What do we need more for we to float? We need a life jacket.
We need a life jacket.
But did we bring one?
Yes, we brought some. And the paddleboard.
Two?
Yeah, and the paddleboard.
I'm gonna use the paddleboard.
Woohoo!
And 10 cases of spray.
Bug spray and mosquito. Well, bug spray and sunscreen. It's a hot one today.
I don't know why it's so foggy. There we go. So here's the lentils. Pretty nice crop coming. Hopefully we don't get too much rain and a bunch of disease in them. Lentils like dry. Usually you can grow a pretty good crop in a dry year. So wet years we've had wrecks before. One year, about 4 or 5 years ago, we did 3 passes fungicide. We had a really nice crop, and it just would not quit raining. And at the time of fungicide, we actually couldn't even get into the fields, so we hired a helicopter and a plane to do it. And like I said, 3 apps, so we spent a whole pile of money. And at the end of the day, we ended up with about 5 bushels to the acre because it just would not quit raining. But for the most part, we've grown a lot of lentils. Dad even used to grow them quite a bit back in the day, and they're usually pretty good for us. And not only they're very profitable usually, they give a little bit of a nitrogen kick the following year, because they you don't put much nitrogen down with the drill for the lentils, because they actually fix their own nitrogen. So it's kind of neat. Totally different plant than your wheat and canola. Gorgeous day today too. I don't know what it was, about 24 above, and barely any clouds in the sky and no wind, so awesome day for spraying. And it sounds like tomorrow's even going to be better. So been busy. Finally got all my stuff out of my old house into the farmhouse, and good friends of mine are actually moving into my old house in town, so I'm very happy for them. I know that they're really excited, and they got a kid that's Jaslyn's age, and she's excited, so it's awesome. See little patches like this. You can see the sow thistle and the Canadian thistle there. Kind of yellow it. The chemical did kind of yellow it, but the Odyssey doesn't do much with thistle, so it'll be an eyesore, but really it's not that big of a problem. It looks worse than it is. The main thing is it got a really good kill on the canola, the volunteer canola, which is good. That's a hard one in the lentils. And the wild oats, I got a pretty good kill, not 100%, but if the time comes for fungicide, and if there's quite a bit of wild oats, I can actually add wild oat spray, like a Centurion or something, to the fungicide, so that'll solve that problem. And at the time of fungicide, we will also spray for aphids insecticides. So anyways, that's a little bit about the lentils, and I'm going to go check out the other crops and get this little girl off to bed, because we're going to be up bright and early, back on the sprayer tomorrow. See you guys.
Hopefully this video isn't too windy and everybody can hear me. Just working on the drill, getting it ready to put away for fall time. We might put in some fall rye here after harvest. Anyways, we're just going through it. There's a tractor, there's beautiful. The drill, sorry I'm moving so fast. Like I say, I don't have any videoing experience, but what we're doing here, I'll show you. We're changing the primary run, the connectors here. You see these lovely things are deteriorating. Is a connection. The top holes are for fertilizer, the bottom holes are for seed. What we're doing is we're going to replace all these with brand new ones. This is what they're supposed to look like. And they have a little rubber gasket in them that makes them seal. On these pieces here is a male and female connector, just like life. Yeah, they make that connection, so that's what we're doing. Another little rundown there on each of these individual openers here. We're tightening up and checking the wheel bearings. There's also a bolt in right here. What'll happen is the little washer and stuff will get loose over time, and then this wheel will start to wobble and look like you've got a bearing out. We grease every individual opener, has a grease fitting on it right there. Yeah, and then we look at the openers, make sure that we don't have any broken bolts. There's little bolts that hold the back shank is your seed shank, front shank is your fertilizer shank. Make sure that the chain is there, because that, as the cylinder pulls, I'll do a little video here. So that sucked. So there's a hydraulic cylinder right here. The cylinder retracts or closes and pulls that front shank forward. I'll move my finger out of the way so it can zoom in. Pulls the front shank forward, pulling the whole shank down into the ground. The front shank there is your fertilizer shank, back shank, seed shank. And then there's bolts that hold it up in there in position with slotted holes to set your depth. Then there's a little chain up here, a little thing, and you adjust with a wrench, a 3/4 inch wrench, and that adjusts your seed depth. So yeah, and then they're double walled tires, so you don't have to worry about the air pressure in them. They're foam filled, so yeah, it's kind of the nice option on these. And they're an individual shank, so it follows the contours of the ground. That's why we like these SeedHawks, or Seedmasters got the same thing too. So probably a little bit, oh, we'll get straightened out here. Probably a little bit better video out of the wind here now. This is the drill. I am changing these primary hoses, or a couple of them here. It was really cold out in the first start of spring, and we were having some troubles with breakage here. The white line is for seed, black lines for fertilizer. Oh, vice versa. White lines for seed, black lines for fertilizer. That's how we designate the difference between. You can see here are the what we call the primary runs. These big hoses are the primary runs, run up into this tower here with all these little 1-inch hoses on, and then those go out to the top. The black ones, like I said, go out to the fertilizer shanks. These ones go out to the seed shank at the back. These pieces in here, these with the connectors, there are blockage monitors. So what it does is it reads the seed coming through this line, and yeah, they work pretty awesome. They tell us if we've got a blocked hose. We've only have them on every other run, which makes it easier for us. There's usually 3 sensors on a head, so we know the difference between, it's designated in the monitor for seed and for fertilizer. So R1's our fertilizer and R2 is our seed, and then they have numbers on them 1 to 24, and yeah, it's easy to designate if we got a broken line. The reason for the tape on here is what we found was during the day it was getting sunlight in the clear part of the hose here, and setting the blockage monitors off, it would do all kinds of funky things. And that was the fix to these Agtron blockage monitors, was putting a little tape around them. So we got a couple cylinders that are leaking. I don't know if you can see that. There's a cylinder leaking in there, so we're going to put a new cylinder on there. When we flick the button, it retracts the cylinder or makes it smaller and pulls that front shank down. Then the chain pulls the back shank down into place also. Then they move up and down, so individually. So little rundown. Well, everybody will look at the back end of a tractor and say, oh my, how do you guys hook all that up? Well, it's actually quite simple. Give you a little rundown. So this line here, this cable, they've got a specific cable. This runs for our John Deere monitor. This Polac plug here runs your lights. This is a case drain line for the air tank itself. Okay, these 2 big lines here, they've color coded, and we put a little piece of tape on them. These are for our fan, run our fan on the back. And then these are wing lift and wing lower, and they're also color coded. The center one here with the red one here, is for our shanks up and down. And then there's another case return for the whole system on the SeedHawk, so that it has active pressure, active down pressure. So there's always oil returning out of the little hydraulic cylinders. But You see all these gauges on there. The only thing we really worry about, and the things are working good, is the big one there. We run it pretty much straight up and down, or about the 11 o'clock position. That tells us how much pressure we're putting on for packing pressure. So hopefully you can hear me through the wind.
Good day, everybody. Happy spot. We are off on our way. Holy man, I can't talk today. On our way to Maple Creek today. For what?
Dropping me off with my mom.
We're on our way to Maple Creek to drop Danica off with her mom. Her mom lives in Sparwood, BC, so it's a little over halfway for us anyways. So it's about 4 hours. We are just about there, but yeah, these two fell asleep right outside Watchers, so can finally do a video. It's been a boring drive. Beautiful day out today, so hopefully everyone can get outside, enjoy the weather, and go golfing or go boating or go fishing. Mom and Dad are out fishing right now. They're gone for the week, I think, actually, so very lucky. Got some good news the other day with Dad, actually. He sounds like his cancer has slowed down, in fact, shrunk a little, so the chemotherapy has been working, so really good news. So what's one question Jaslyn has asked me 77 times today?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet? And that was with like the 5 minutes that you've been up. What's your favorite thing to do when traveling, Jaslyn?
Are we there yet, Dad? Watch Netflix.
Watch Netflix or stare out the window and find moose and elk and deer for Dad?
I received the honor roll.
That's my girl. That came from your dad, didn't it?
Oh yes.
Anyways, I'm getting into some construction here, so gonna let you go.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.